Here we are again. Okay, so now we have the manifold studs ready. I've cleaned them up on a wire wheel. They, again, as always, are not perfection, but they're the originals and I like to use them if I can. So I've divided them up, and so I know I've got the correct amount, 8 of each, and 1. The other 2 pieces I have here that go on the manifold, they are cooling down. I've just given them the treatment with this stuff again, so that's looking good. So now the next trick is to get these in, and as you know, we'll probably use the double nut method, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to run a tap through every one of these holes just to make sure the threads are nice and clear and that everything will go together properly. So let's get that done. No point in me showing you how to use a tap, I'm sure you know. Well, you may recall in my last video that I was somewhat unhappy about the shininess of this manifold, and you also will recall from previous videos how I detest having to do something twice. But it was bugging me. I could not stand the shiny look. So I stripped it all off and blasted it again, and now I've coated it in a flat clear coat, which I think looks a lot better than it did. So now I can start putting this together with all the studs, which I'd already done, but as I said, I got, what should we say, annoyed, upset with the fact that it didn't look how I was expecting it to. It was too shiny. Right, now put this all together and I'll show you that when it's done. Here are all the components ready for me to put on the manifold. Obviously these are the carburetor gaskets, and these studs here are for this. These studs here are for the carburetor. This little one here goes in there for the throttle linkage. This goes in here again for the throttle linkage, and this is a vacuum line that goes in here. And obviously these are the gaskets for the water, and spring washers, as well as brass nuts. Nothing like having brass nuts. I probably don't need the spring washers, but I'm going to put them on because I like to do that. So I'm going to put spring washers on everything. In fact, I may, had a thought now, I may get some copper washers to go on these. Yes, but I can always put those on afterwards. And it's kind of belt and braces, isn't it, you know? Brass nuts on a metal stud with a spring washer and a copper washer. But that's probably what I'm going to do, in all honesty. So, let me assemble this now. No point really, I don't think, in showing you how I'm going to put it together. Obviously, I'm going to be using the 2-nut method for putting these studs back in. They do initially go in with fingers, and that's something you should always do. That way you, whoops, don't cross the threads, because crossing threads in aluminium is not a good thing. So just get them lined up. Okay, that one's giving me grief, of course, because I was actually filming it. It's probably the stud. Yes, the stud needs a bit of a clean, which is disgraceful because I thought I'd clean them all. So anyway, yeah, that's what we would do. Oops, that one's crooked as well, you see. See what happens when you try and do it one-handed. All right, I will get on now and get all these things inserted, and I'll come back to you when I've finished reassembling. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, you know, if you do end up sandblasting like I did, do make sure you clean out all of these threads and all of these holes and get all the stuff out. I blasted it through with an air line, and then I re-cleaned all the holes and then blasted them again with an air line. So don't forget to do that, otherwise you could end up sucking the sandblast material into your engine. That's not good. And if you don't clean out the threads, you'd have a hell of a job getting them in. Just thought I'd remind you guys of that, just in case. Here she is. Here's the manifold. Back together, ready to receive the carburetors and the throttle linkage. Well, throttle linkage obviously won't be done until I get it on the vehicle, but the carburetors I will be putting on, as long as they don't interfere with me putting on these bolts down here. So that may or may not happen. We will have to see. Looking pretty good in my book. So yes, I'm very happy with that. What do you think, guys? Nice? I think so. Alright, next is polish up the carburetors and get them on. Well, rebuild them first. I do have to rebuild them. I have the kits here. If I can get into here. Now we have the two carburetor kits. Obviously they're identical, with all the more gaskets than I need. In fact I will use these gaskets because they're a much better quality than these paper ones that I've got on there. And new springs, new fuel level thingies and pins, instructions too, not that I really need them, but hey, you never know. The only thing I'm kind of disappointed in is there's not a needle in there, at least not that I can see. And I was kind of hoping there would be a needle in there, but I guess with a service kit you don't get the needle. I'll have to check that out, check the needles that I've got, give them a good clean up. And I also bought these two washers there for the starting carburetor. I mean, I could have got them locally, but while I was ordering I figured, what the hell, let's just buy them. And it's I believe are they the same washer? No, yes, they are the same. Yeah, two washers identical for the starting carburetor, which is somewhere. Oh, there it is. Look. Oh, and I've got to clean this all up now. All right, let me start cleaning that lot up, and then we'll get it all installed. That will be good, won't it? Now we move to getting the carburetors done. They need polishing. I have just put them through the sandblaster. Then I blew them all out with a airline. Next thing I'm going to do is rinse them in water to try and get the last remnants of the dust out. Once I've done that, the items that I'm not going to polish, with the exception of this slide, I will be coating in clear lacquer. Again, I'm going to be using the matte one. These little items are just awkward to polish, and I'm not going to do it. It's as simple as that. I may polish that, I don't know. This is awkward to polish, but I may give it a shot. The bowl, I'll definitely polish the majority of the bowl. I've got a bit of cleaning to do in there still. And obviously I will be polishing the dash top. And this, I very much doubt I'll be polishing that. So we'll see how that looks, and then if I'm not pleased with the way it looks, then maybe I'll get into polishing these larger items, but that would not be easy. So that's it now. Rinsing and then polishing. Just wanted to show you this piece. I needed to coat this, and I couldn't do it whilst it was attached to the aluminium base there, so I had to take it apart. What you have to do, if you want to do the same, is there's this pin that goes through this, and then obviously this fork sits there. So let me, hang on, let me show you how this goes. That goes like that, that goes like that, and the pin goes through that hole, but you have to make sure it goes through the hole here in the brass shaft. So you got to make sure you line that up with this piece. It doesn't turn very easily, so you're going to have to be aware of that. And then I wanted to paint the screw and sorry, the spring and the screw, but of course then that's not paint, it's that coating that I've used before. And also I did this bracket with it. Not over impressed with that bracket, I must admit, so we'll see. I may well powder coat that bracket just to give it a better look. These came out okay, but that I'm not. Yeah, in fact, I know I'm going to powder coat it. But in order to get that pin out, you got to use a thin drift or punch. And I got my set from Craftsman a long time ago. All right, just wanted to throw that in. So let's get that done. No point me showing you how to use a tap. I'm sure you know. Well, you may. I have now coated these in a flat clear lacquer. Not looking too bad. Obviously I covered up the holes where I didn't want the lacquer to go, and they're looking pretty good. I'll have to do a little bit of cleanup on this, but I wasn't too worried as it's only the starting carb, but I will need to give that a bit of a clean. And probably a little bit on that surface as well. This is okay, yep. And well, I'm going to be replacing the needle and in there. And obviously as I did it that way down, this surface didn't get anything. That moves very smoothly and there is no play, I'm happy to say. So this is looking pretty good. I can start assembling that now. And that will be in the next video. I'm going to send this one out tonight, purely because I like to keep you guys amused. And as always, guys, please like, subscribe, ding the bell, and don't forget, if you want to email me, gstargarage@gmail.com, and that's gstargarage@gmail.com. Good night, and may your God go with you. Thank you, Dave Allen.